CW, we don't stand.
I'm not willing to take a stand on CW.
Yeah, you
right
watched
now.
Riverdale?
I forgot that Riverdale was CW.
That's their main thing.
My favorite TikTok account
Yeah.
is an account that just explains what's happening in Supernatural. And
in Riverdale?
Oh, yes, in Riverdale. And I never know if it's
No, it's
legit.
fucking insane. It's actually like the levels of Riverdale.
I
It gets
will
so
say
crazy.
that like Riverdale is so convoluted and so insane now that it makes me want to watch
No,
it.
honestly, I was sad because I watched the first 2 seasons and I was like, this is fucking boring and stupid and I don't want it. And I felt so sad after that because the more shit that I saw happening in the show, I was like, man, I should have stuck through. Could have been enjoying this insanity.
I love the first season of Riverdale.
I agree. I enjoyed the first
second season was a lot of the same, but different in
it
like
just
a weird
felt
way.
like worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't go as far as to say I love the first season or even like a strong like because it's been so long and I feel like it's one of those things that while I know when I binged it when I was in high school or younger, whenever the fuck Riverdale first came out, I know that I did enjoy it, but feels like I might if I went back to rewatch it, I might be like, well,
like let's maybe not take a stance.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take a hard stance there. I feel like that could age poorly if I look back at it and I'm like, oh no, this is way worse than I thought it was. This is not good. This is bad. God. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it's about time to roll the intro. So let's do that. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cynical Cinephiles podcast, where we stress random syllables for no reason. I am your host, Caleb, and this is my other host,
Caitlin.
Or the other host, not my other, you know what I mean. The other host of this thing. I never can get that right. Someday we'll get there.
It literally would never be an issue if you just dropped it. If you just were like, and this is the other one.
But I feel like at this point, I've done it so many times that now I just have to like be aware of it every time. I'm just conscious. Introducing another host. Be natural challenge. Go. I failed already. Fuck. Anyway.
This is the gargoyle I picked up off the street.
This is the trash panda I found lying on the side of the road. Picked her up and now we're here. You know, forced her to watch a movie, strapped her down, you know.
And taught me how to speak.
Exactly. Gave you some vocational training. The whole shebang. Great move, honestly, on my part. But yeah, so the movie that I did, in fact, force her to watch was 8th grade, as you can see right there. Also, the logo will roll right now, you know. It's first thing I want to say is just that the spelling the word 8th, I find, is very difficult. The 2 H's keep tripping me out. I don't know why.
Did I spell it correctly?
I think you did. I think you did. Yeah, you did.
Because that'd be so fucking embarrassing.
It's just like spelled wrong. No, that would be funny. No, I think you spelled it right. Okay. No, I just found like right as I was like writing the title down, I fucked it up and I was like, oh fuck, because it's shit. It's just 8 with an H at the end, but somehow just the 2 H's, my brain's just like, whoa.
It feels like it should be 8TH.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, whoa. Throws me off a little bit. So that's why my first note was literally just spelling. I just wrote spelling. But yes, would you like to give a summary of Bo Burnham's directed, written film 8th Grade?
Yeah, so 8th Grade stars a 8th grader.
Crazy.
Named Kayla. I almost just said Caleb. Might as well have been.
Pretty
An
close,
8th grader named Kayla, and she is towards the end of her 8th grade year about to go into high school, and it is essentially a glimpse in a life about boys and drama and self-image and all sorts of stuff that I'm sure we'll get into. I would say that there's not a distinct plot line because the plot is her real life. Yeah. And so there's not like a clear resolution, nor is there a clear story arc, more as it's almost like it's not a mockumentary, but it's almost like a mockumentary about this girl's life.
It's just very much like a slice of life.
Yeah.
Kind of all the loose ends at the end of, I guess, 8th grade year. And that's mostly it. Yeah. Which, I mean, it is actually interesting because, it's like now I'm reflecting on it and I hadn't actually really thought about the fact that there really is no like actual plot through line. which is honestly impressive because I never I never once thought that.
I never missed it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't wanting one.
You're like, wow,
I was just enjoying. Yeah.
Which I think that's very impressive.
I think it's impressive not only because that's an impressive form of storytelling, but also because I think if you would have forced a plot into this movie, you would have lost the nuance of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that would take away a lot from it.
That's not how real life is.
And I think that is definitely something this movie does a good job at. It captures reality in a very uncomfortable way. Where you're like, oh, it's
There were many times in this movie that I really wanted to like. Because it's just so realistic. And I know you had described it to me as being like a very realistic experience, but I think in the back of my head I was like, what does this 30-year-old man know about being an 8th grade girl? And apparently it's way too much.
Oh my, it's really funny, like, because I'm really, as I mentioned in our last episode, I've also been working on this Bo Burnham video for a long time. It's going to release around the same time as this episode.
So go check it out. But so after
you finish watching, watch it. It's going to be great. It's going to be all right. It's a lot of work though. Anyway, but in all my writing and editing and everything, I've watched so many fucking interviews. And the thing is Bo Burnham, I mean, as is pretty clear, he's not a very like public person. He likes to be away from everyone for like 3 years and then he comes back. But the one time he couldn't do that was 8th grade because he wanted to promote it. He was working with like thousands of people under him for this. I mean, obviously it's their work too, and he wanted to like do his best to get it out there. So all of the interviews you're really going to find are almost all from 8th grade. And the one consistent thing he'll always say, it's like his like trained statement that he'll like always make the same joke in every interview. I've heard this joke probably hundreds of fucking times at this point. And he's always like, well, people ask me why I did it, it follows a girl instead of a boy. And it's because I would see all these videos online. I was looking for like really like videos no one was watching and just trying to see like the actual individual stories of these like little kids and stuff. And the boys would just talk about Minecraft and Fortnite and the girls would talk about their souls. So of course I was like, well, it makes more sense to do it on a girl than for this.
That's actually, I got chills.
You're like, wow.
That's pretty profound.
I mean, honestly, he kind of is, and I think it was also a good choice. I think
for sure.
Fits for sure.
I think also one thing I definitely want to touch on is how much we love Bo Burnham.
Honestly,
because not only is he like, God, I'm gonna sound so fucking lame. Not only is he the realest,
he's a real one, for real.
But also, like, I think it's cool to have not wanting a social image, not wanting to form parasocial relationships with your audience, wanting to make sure there's a clear boundary, but also being willing to kind of extend that boundary in order to make sure that this movie is a success so that people get paid, and also so that way like kids who need to know these stories can see them. And one thing that you and I have talked a lot about, and you told me ad nauseum about this, is the fact that since what is 8th grade rated again?
It's rated R, yeah.
Yeah, it's rated R. Since it's rated R and 8th graders wouldn't be allowed to go see it normally, he made a lot of the viewings free. So that way 8th graders could actually go and see this story.
Yeah, which is just awesome.
Because like he's just so great.
He is. It's really great to see. I don't know. He just like with everything with the release of this movie, you can just really see that very much like he had
kind of what his character is.
Exactly. And I think even in the script of the movie, that's very clear. And everything he does, even when it is like a little more like critical or cynical or whatever, I feel like there's still always this touch of empathy to it, and he approaches everything with like this empathetic look. And between the two actual I guess fictional narratives he's put out, being 8th grade and like Zach Stone is going to be famous, both of those you can see the through line of like this idea of performing and fame and like just being a person growing up in the world today and like aspiring for that. And both I think take, while very different approaches, I think they both take a very empathetic and like heartfult touch to it. It's which we love to see, honestly. It's great.
And I think it's especially funny talking about Bo Burnham as a person, that like you can kind of tell more who he is based off of the work that he produces rather than the persona that he puts on for stage and like performing, because the kind of like persona that he maintains for performing is a very self-centered, kind of conceited, big-headed persona, as opposed to kind of what you can see throughout his writing, and
like
also
the actual themes and everything.
The themes, and also like the snide comments he'll make about himself while performing. Like you can tell that there's a lot of heart there.
No, yeah, honestly, it's really interesting, honestly, especially because it's like you can't see so much of him in his art outside of his persona. Like it's a lot clearer to see. That's also interesting when it's like listening to him in interviews or on like long form podcasts, and you'll hear him just like talk at length, and you can like hear him say almost like exact wording to things that you can see in the Inside Special or in 8th grade, and like the way he phrases things, it's like it articulates like his feelings on the internet or anything like that. You can see almost like exact parallels to like his actual work, and that's why I think it's interesting when you're watching his work and you're like, I can see a lot of his like opinions and thoughts and like the way that he expresses himself through it. Like it's just very artistic, and it's interesting. I don't know.
It's very autobiographical without needing to be about himself.
One of my favorite things that I think, and this is going to connect to the video that's going to come out around now as well, is that in Make Happy, he has like this whole breakdown at the end before his final like big song, and he talks about how like no matter what he writes, every time he sits down to write a comedy or a script or anything, it always ends up coming back around to performing, and that always ends up being what he ends up writing about. Like no matter what, even if he doesn't try to, it becomes about performing. And for like the longest time, he was like, well, this is just about me. I'm like writing about myself, really, and my own experiences. But then it's like, you start to realize that in the modern era, it's not just about him. Everyone is a performer. With the internet, with social media, everything is a performance. Your Snapchat, your Instagram, any social media you're using, anything you're using to put yourself out there, it's all a performance. And even without like just posting to social media, I feel like it's you yourself as a person become a performance, because you're watching other people online or watching other people do things in movies or on the internet, and you're wanting to aspire to be more like them. So then in your own life, because you're influenced by that, then you're still performing in some way as well. And it's just, that's the situation. I think that's what 8th grade's also like very much about.
Yeah, 100%.
That performance. Yeah.
Very insightful.
Yes.
Very insightful.
I love performing.
So the first note that I have written for our viewing of 8th grade: more A24? I'm so sick and fucking tired of talking about A24 on this fucking podcast.
My picks just be like A24. Maybe some nostalgia, A24. Yeah.
It's like, you did throw a Robert Eggers in there, but that was still A24, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that was... Actually, have I only picked A24? No, Promising Young Woman was... not
UHF was also not.
Yes. Okay. So I'm all right.
I just feel like if we did like a pie graph.
No, it's gonna be just A24 for a huge chunk. I'm a big A24 whore, to be honest.
Period.
Honestly, no, I was.
But I seem to have forgotten the fact that this was an A24 film.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I saw the logo fly onto screen, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, I think I had said something when that came up. I was like, well, only A24 is good enough for Bo Burnham. Would any other fucking studio be good enough? I don't think so. I think they go together so well, really. They align perfectly. And his direction in this movie.
It was really, really good. I thought it was... So I made a comment after the movie ended. As you know, we don't talk about the movie when it ended, which was very awkward this time because we were watching it with people.
Yeah, there were a couple other people there, and we were just like...
And one of the... Julia was trying to talk to you about the movie, and Caleb just would not fucking say a word.
I was in silence.
I was just watching her face, and I was like, Caleb, you gotta give her something, bro.
I was tight-lipped as fuck. I was like, no, you don't get a response. I am holding this in.
And finally, Sebastian had to be like, we don't talk.
We don't talk about the movie here. Not when we're watching it. That's not allowed. We don't do that here. I'm so dedicated. Awkward. It's as it should have been. I think it was fitting given the movie.
But the only thing I think I did say to you was... that you know it's an A24 movie because there's those very sudden and distinct violin.
Yeah. Every time. It's a requirement, I think.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But touching on that, I thought it was very interesting that a lot of the soundtrack played more for like a horror movie than it did for like a slice of life, and I feel like that's very fitting.
Yeah, no, I think I wrote down on my notes at some point, I'm like, every time I watch this movie, it feels creepier to me because it's like it's Enya, right? Is that how her name? The one from the song when it's like stay away, stay away, stay away, oh, oh. Stay away, stay away, stay. You know that song?
I feel like I vaguely know the song.
Oh, okay. Because I remember it was really funny when I first watched 8th grade, like fucking years ago at this point. Whenever I had watched that specific like Enya song was in everything. Like that month, I'd seen like 5 different shows and movies that used that song. So it came up again in this, and I was like, bro, why is this song fucking following? I was like, freak the fuck out. But I also feel like that song specifically is like so fucking surreal and like almost dissociative and very just like you're looking at this like dystopian world, and that song's playing as she's just like scrolling through. It's like a montage of her like lifeless face as like different YouTube and Snapchat, whatever the fuck's all popping on, and I'm like, it creates this very like dystopian, like this is the world, this is like she's so zoned into it. Or like the song that plays when she's like at dinner and it's like blaring like fucking hyper pop, like all going at once, very synthy. And then it's like she's just like fully lasered in. And then finally she takes her ear out to like say something. And then they're like, oh yeah, she's actually at her dinner right now. And then she like immediately puts her ear back in. It like booms again. And it's like all just, it's like everything everywhere all of the time. It's like that where it's like it's taking up all of her senses and it's like lasering her in.
You know how I feel about that.
That's fair, but I mean that is what it is. It's like all of her attention and all of her sensory, like her ears and her eyes and her attention's all on this. And it's like the you don't even see the dinner while her earphones are in, right? Like you don't see that she's having dinner. You're just seeing her laser focused in on this because that's basically what the world becomes confined to in that moment. Anyway, I just love the sound design of this movie. It's so well
It's
utilized.
really good. Talking about that dinner scene.
Yes.
So every time she takes her earbud out, it's because her dad's trying to, her dad is trying to say something to her. And then she gets mad at him and then puts the earbud back in. And while that was happening, I was like, God damn it, I do not want to have a teenager. Like, I want to have kids in the future, but if we could just skip 13 to
pass
18,
over that phase.
that would be great. And then later in the movie, when they have that really heartfelt moment where she says, like, if I had a daughter, I would be sad if she was like me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd be sad if she was like you too. And then the dad said that very heartfelt thing about like, you know, I'm always so proud of you. I've never been worried about you because of who you are as a person. That's when I realized that I am not ready to have children yet.
Damn. This movie just hit you with the truth right there.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, oh no, that's a me problem.
Damn, that's crazy.
But I did find it very impressive how awesome her dad was.
Oh my god, her dad was amazing. It was just like, oh god.
He was so wholesome and pure.
And it's like, I loved that because it's like you get to see the struggle in that, like, he doesn't know what to do.
Right, because nothing is correct.
Exactly. And he's just like, in every instance, he's always just like very unsure of like the best thing he's able to do. And that's why it's like so compelling watching. I mean, like, I have to say his like biggest like iffiness there is when, of course, when he follows her to the mall, he's like trying to watch her from a
But I
distance.
also wrote a note in that said, I'm not sure I would have done something different.
Exactly, where it's like there's such nuance there.
Right,
you know?
because as far as he knows, like his daughter is hanging out with a bunch of high schoolers, and like that's a little sketchy. And then, you know, she freaks out and tells him to leave. And that's when she ends up getting a ride home from the teenage boy who tries to convince her to sleep with him.
And given that, I mean,
and he was justified in wanting to know like where she was and who she was hanging out with. But also, had he not done that, he would have been the one picking her up, and she would have been safe and comfortable enough to like not have to get a ride home with a strange guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's like he was completely justified in wanting to follow her and making sure she was okay, but in doing so broke her trust just enough that she ended up in the position he didn't want her to be in.
it's just that's fucking incredible.
It's so good.
It's and the way he like responds to her too when she's like angry at him after that. It's just like, I don't know. He's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I shouldn't. And I don't know. It's just like it hits me. I think really his mistake was just doing it so unsubtly. Yeah. I think if he was like maybe walking and he was like, you know, he had the excuse like, oh, I'm just going to go around at the mall myself since I'm here anyway.
Right.
And then you kind of walk by and you see her and kind of like eyeball her as you're walking a couple of times. That'd be the way to do it. Exactly. I'm just saying. Dad's at home. If you're stalking your daughter,
I don't feel like that's stalking. I feel like when you have like a
I mean, if you're just keeping an eye on your daughter. No, yeah. Actually, you're right. Stalking is not the right. It's just keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
Do it a little subtler.
That's exactly what I wrote. I was like, I would have done the same thing, but I would not have been obvious. Yeah, I would not
get fucking caught, bitch.
Because he just wants to do the right thing, and he has like the app in his phone to track what she likes and doesn't like, so he doesn't do the wrong thing.
Oh my god, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I thought you hated bananas. I like wrote it down because you said that I never remember that you don't like bananas. And it's just like, yo.
Yeah, it's very sweet. And then she like asks him to help her burn something, and he just doesn't ask questions. He's like, sure. Yeah. And then he does ask a few questions, but he was like, is this good? Like, is what we're doing right now good?
And she's like, it's, you know, just my hopes and dreams. It's cool.
And another thing that I really loved is towards the end of the movie when she is starting to be happier. You see them talking more. You see like her relationship with her father is directly correlated to what is happening in her social life.
And I think, I don't know if it's an exact directly the same angle, like parallel, but at least it seemed like a parallel to me where it's like the shot of her in the car with her dad like slightly out of focus as she's like just kind of focusing in on her phone. I felt like there was two shots from that like angle in the movie that both looked very different. Like one when she's being driven to the mall and she's of course on her phone and she's like kind of arguing with him and very like pissy and all that shit. And then at the end of the movie they show for like a brief flash like her after like presumably prom or something in maybe freshman year, and she's like smiling and laughing with presumably her dad there as well.
See, I thought it was the same angle but from a different side. Because as the camera moves, it kind of stops being the same angle. But if you look at it when she's being driven to the mall, he's closest to the camera and she's further away, and then later she's closer to the camera and he's further away.
I could see that it's like kind of the opposite sides of that. I think that's either way. I feel like that felt like a parallel to me.
It definitely felt like a parallel,
which we love to see, honestly. It's really interesting the way that the movie like leaves off on that being like, it is, there are like some things are kind of resolved where she like expresses her things to that one girl at school who sucks, and she kind of gets closer to Gabe and is better with her father, but also, you know,
love Gabe.
Gabe is a fucking we love him, spirit animal,
so
bro.
Cute. Like he was adorable.
He's like, I got a 20-piece chicken nugget, every sauce, and he's just like sitting there like tired.
You were missing the best part about that interaction. He was like, I got 2 of every sauce, but if you really like a certain sauce, you can have the other one as well. I like all sauces. It was just so sweet because it really is so apparent to like, and it feels weird to say because to younger people, I'm going to make myself sound old. And to older people, they're going to be like, well, yeah, obviously. But like, we're not that far away from middle school. Like, we're not that much older than like, you know, I guess that was 10 years ago.
Hey, fuck that, dude. Good amount of time.
But like coming from like an older person like ourselves, like that kind of Gabe where he's like kind of the silly goofball kind of thing, like that's definitely the guy you want to go for. You don't want to go for the Aidens or the weird high school almost seniors who are trying to get you to take your shirt off in the back of their car.
No, but you want to go for like, I mean, it's because he's very just authentic and eager and trying to just like
and just trying to be like himself, and like that's the kind of person that you want to like spend time with. Honestly,
dude was just a homie, bro.
I loved him.
He just fucking asks and he's like, so do you believe in God? Just fucking answer with the fucking existential. Dude, that shit was funny as fuck. Or he really just wanted to show off his like archery fucking certificate.
Oh my god.
And he's like, oh, I left this out here. And he grabs it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
He's like, oh, it's so lame though.
I shouldn't. And then she's like, but do you want to see it? It's really lame, but you want to see. It's great.
Another point I want to make is, can we stop having middle schooler birthday parties at a pool? No middle schooler wants to go to a pool party.
And I think that's yeah. You mean in reality? I thought you were saying in movies for a second. I was going to be like.
No, that's part of the point.
Yeah.
But like in real life, can we stop doing that? Because like.
It's weird as fuck.
Stop recommending that to your kid because no one wants that.
Literally, that's just
every time I got invited to a pool party in middle school, it was an automatic. I couldn't go.
No, I literally, because I don't even go to pools or water. I don't like water, so you don't see me. I haven't been to a pool in years. But when the last like few pool parties I went to in like middle and early high school, I would show up and I wouldn't bring a swimsuit or anything. I just like stay out by the pool and I'd be like, I'm cool. I'm just watching. Too. Yeah, I prefer that. I don't know.
It feels weirdly intimate for like a group of people that you kind of know. Like absolutely take your kid to the pool. That's not what I'm saying.
Or even just like with a small group of friends, but when it's like
but when it's like a big
thing.
Pool party, like I feel like you need to, especially in middle school, you need to really trust the people that you're with before you put yourself in that kind of vulnerable situation.
No, yeah, it's just weird.
It's weird,
awkward, and I don't know.
No one likes it.
Yeah, literally, it's just yet another one of those things that this movie like shows, just like a very kind of normal thing that happens a lot that's just fucking weird and gross and invasive and strange.
Yeah.
And like I think the movie does a great job of being like, here's a school shooter drill, and have the kids talking about it in a very nonchalant way because school shootings are that common, where like she'll go up to fucking Aiden, the biggest piece of shit ever, and she's like, yeah, so you think we'll ever have a real school shooting? And he's like, I wish. And she's like, yeah, same, because it's like their way of connecting relates to the weird dark threat of school shootings, and it's just so interesting. It's so
I think it's very interesting that you just called Aiden the biggest piece of shit. And I think that's very interesting because I think it brings back the idea that these are kids. Like, these are just kids. And so, like, it's very easy for us as adults to, like, look back at, like, middle schoolers and be like, they're a piece of shit. But like really they're lacking the experience and the knowledge that we have. Like you know how big of a piece of shit I was in middle school?
I mean, same. I feel that.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of people, especially people who stay very close to their hometown throughout like most of their life, that's why it's like so popular to like move after you graduate high school, is because you want to reinvent yourself, because you don't want to be associated as the same person that you were you know, in middle school. I have faith in Aiden. Like yes, Aiden was kind of
make a turnaround,
kind of a piece of shit, but I feel like later in life he could like
there's a chance for. I mean, we don't see enough of him to really get too much of a sense anyway. But still, oh my god, I just fucking, when she like has to like try to convince him that she has a bunch of
nudes, essentially child.
Yeah, and that's of course when he like perks up and
and then asks her if she can give a blowjob.
Yeah,
it's so cringy. Also, what kind of middle school? Like, was I less popular than Kayla was? Because nothing like that ever happened to me.
Oh yeah?
No.
I feel like
Maybe it was because I was of who I am as a person, and I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, I do think that definitely is a thing, and like depending on the circle though. I don't think it's like a universal, but also she was like, I mean, Aiden was seemingly like the dude of the school, you know, like which makes sense. Like that just was his personality.
Right.
Fuck him. I will still say that, but at least I at least can say that in regards to that one fucking high schooler, because he's like a senior, right?
He's almost an adult, and like at
there's
no
excuse.
Point there is a distinct difference between like two people of the same age wanting to like explore each other and also being like kind of a dick, you know, and then also being a predator to someone much younger than you.
Oh my god.
Like there is at no point where that is excusable to me.
Yeah, it's that scene is just so
because that's using your power as like an older person and your authority to try to coerce And then, like, the part about that scene, I feel like I have 2 pages of notes on that scene specifically because of how enraged I got.
Mm-hmm.
But not only did it just trigger my fight or flight just so intensely, but also, like, the gaslighting that fucking happened when he was like, I was doing this for you. Like,
now you're gonna lose your virginity to some dude at a party.
Right, and you're not even gonna be good. Mm-hmm. Like, shut the fuck up.
Fucked.
And also, like, if you're like senior boys out there.
PSA.
Get some fucking riz and date someone your own fucking age.
Literally.
You only go after little kids because you have no fucking game, bro. Fuck you.
Bitches.
Get bitches, touch grass.
Honestly. Like if you're
hug your mom. Like,
honestly, true.
Fuck you.
True. No, if you're a senior dating a freshman, like,
fuck you,
that
bro.
really just makes you look sadder than anything.
Exactly.
Like, it does not make you look good.
You have no fucking riz.
Mm-hmm. No, straight up. And oh my god, that whole scene. It was really funny because it was just like I was remembering that scene as it was coming up since I have seen this before, and it was like I just got more and more like worried ahead of time. I was like, please, I hate that I know what's about to happen, bro. I was so fucking anxious ahead of time. I was like, nah, because it's so deeply uncomfortable and fucking disturbing.
Because it's fucked up. I mean, and it like reminds you that these are things that happen, and like how fucked up. Listen, to all the young women out there who may or may not be listening to this podcast, if he says that you act mature for your age, red fucking flag.
Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of there.
Red flag. And I think the one other thing about this scene that I think needs to be recognized is that I think that that's like attempted assault. And I think like in the scene he never like physically, grabs her or like tries to force himself on her or anything. But I think I've seen, because of course I've watched so much fucking discussion about this movie, and I feel like a lot of like interviewers or people talking about the film don't acknowledge that scene as attempted assault, because it's like he didn't physically do anything. But I think that scene's like that definitely that is what that is. He premeditatedly was trying to get her alone and trying to like manipulate her, mentally into doing that. Right. So I think that needs to be very much like recognized as attempted assault, because that's what it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. It's because it's like ahead of time. He's like, "Ooh, we should drop you her off first." And it's like, no. I mean, you're right here. And then he's like kind of like making it seem okay and trying to get her. And then immediately is like, "Oh, we should. It's hard talking to you when you're back there." Pulls over immediately. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ugh, it drives me fucking insane.
No,
it's angry as
actually
fuck.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's like
I hate men.
Honestly, fuck
I
him,
hate
bro.
boys. That he's not even old enough to be a man, but like, it's fucking gross.
Yeah, it's just so fucking. I hate it so much.
And the amount, the toll that takes on your self-esteem as like a young woman is fucked up.
Oh my god. And it's and then they just hit you with like after that scene, and then she's like crying and her dad's trying to comfort her, and then they just overlay that footage of her like crying and stuff with her like new video that she's making about I'm quitting videos, and like the duo of that. It just like hits so fucking hard.
It really does.
I don't know. Well, it's goddamn. I think that the cinematography, it's really interesting seeing like for shots like that, they're so long. I think one of my favorite things about this movie is that he, like Bo Burnham as a director, goes in for the long take, the long shot, like every time. Like they're all very long, lengthy shots. And I think for scenes like that as well, when you're just like, without actually hearing her cry and hearing this whole scene, it's just like on screen, uninterrupted for like a minute with just this playing. And it's just every time. Also, Elsie Fisher, the actor playing Kayla, they're just like, because I believe they identify as non-binary, so I'm going to try to use they/them pronouns. If I mess it up, I apologize. But they're just so like talented. Those are such long really monologues. Yeah, it's incredible to me. Like they're a terrific actor.
They really are. Like that was one thing that really caught me off guard, was how terrific the acting was.
Oh my god!
Because all of the kids looked like kids. They were not like 20-year-olds playing 14. Yeah. Right. They were actually being played by their age group, and all of them were so good.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I just have to give massive props to like everyone. because they all did just a terrific job. And it's also crazy with like some of those monologues and stuff, because listening, of course, to again a lot of these interviews, Bo Burnham's talked a lot about how like Elsie Fisher like would have these so like memorized out that they'd like stumble in the exact same spot every time, like that, like, even because like in this those like ums and uhs and likes are all actually scripted. Like he scripted every single stutter and stumble, and Elsie was able to just like fully act that out, which is just insane. It's incredible. It's just massive props. Terrific acting job, honestly. So yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I loved, honestly, the costuming was incredible.
Yes.
They made the choice to not put Elsie in anything flattering, which I feel like is a very distinct and powerful choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they showed that vulnerability
very well.
Yeah, it's terrific. Like just Kayla in the movie is like very often shown like, you know, at home without makeup, acne and everything, which is very normal. Like acne is so fucking normal, and seeing that is awesome. It's
so awesome.
Yeah, and I think it also makes it even more like disturbing and weird when she'll like get on Snapchat, right? And then it's like all of a sudden, you know, the filters will like fix all of her facial features. Like, you know, oh, we'll like adhere you to beauty standards. We'll like round out your face and make your eyes slightly bigger and soften your skin. And like, it just creates weird things where you're like, okay, that's it
also one thing that I really enjoyed about like the casting choice of Kayla is that they don't have perfectly straight front teeth. And that was a big touch that I enjoyed as someone who grew up and was in middle school with really kind of fucked up teeth. Like their teeth are not anywhere close to being as jacked up as mine were at their age, but like God, like there is the fact that like in all of her photos that she would take of herself, even when she had the filter on, she still couldn't smile because she was insecure about her teeth.
That's an interesting point.
She would like do the kind of smile,
close your mouth.
I did the exact same fucking thing.
Damn, yeah.
Like there was so much of myself that I saw in this movie. I mean, down to the BuzzFeed quizzes, going on Tumblr. Like there was the poses that they were doing. The group photo where she like does the thumbs up. Like all of it is just so distinctly like the kind of hunch because you're trying to like close in on yourself, the parting of her hair so that it very distinctly fell on both sides, so that way it felt like a sort of cover. Like everything,
every detail.
Yes,
it's so meticulous.
Down to starting the movie with perfectly painted nails and then the nails chipping progressively as the movie goes on. Like it was so authentic.
Dude.
That's scared me.
It's just like so much props to like the set designers and of course Bo Burnham as a director and just everyone. Like no, see, because even talking about details, one of my other favorite like things that they did with this movie and creative decisions I believe Bo Burnham himself specifically made was when they're using phones in the movie, they're using real phones, and she's you know, Kayla is actually like, you know, or I guess the actor Elsie Fisher is actually like browsing the phone like in those scenes, because he's like, when you're looking at the internet, when you're looking at a screen, that you have an expression and you have a lifelessness in your eyes that cannot be replicated. Because normally in most movies they will have you basically have your phone and it'll have like a green screen on it. I was in, you know, as I believe I've mentioned on the podcast before, I was in a movie and there was a couple of, you know, movie things, but there was a couple of scenes where we were all on our phones and they made every person in the room had to have the phone with like a green screen on it, and they would all just like add in screens in post. And that's usually how they do it. Like almost every time screens are always just like green screens that they add in post, because it makes it easier to like control what's on the screen and reduce glare if necessary, and like you can change everything you need. But he was Bo Burnham was like, no, they need to be real phones every time. We're not going to comp in a single screen. The light is going to add a whole lot. Like having that actual authentic light changes everything. The lifelessness in your eyes when you're actually scrolling through something, and like all of those things. And I think whenever they're filming it, he also made the decision of like, we need to show these actual brands. Like she's going to be using Snapchat, like you know, Kayla's using Snapchat, not fucking like Snap friend,
right.
you know, like some
not
rip
like
off.
Snap Blast.
Yes, not Snap Blast. Yeah, like she's using these actual brands. We're not, because it's the real world. And even with like food brands and drink brands, they were using the actual brands, not because of product placement. They had no actual product placement in the movie that they were paid for, but because it would take you out of it if it was like. Yeah. Mountain or like Geyser Dew. You know?
I almost said Mountain Blast again.
Mountain Blast.
Like, yeah. What's my deal with the word blast?
I mean, blast today? Just kind of works.
It's a banger.
It's a good one.
It's a blast.
Hey. No, even Mountain Dew though, they have a Mountain Dew voltage in one. And when I first watched the movie, I remember noticing that. I was like, oh, it's not a regular Mountain Dew, it's a Mountain Dew voltage, like a specific blue Mountain Dew, which I feel like it's and this is a stupid fucking thing, but for me that like it just sells me on like the authenticity.
Right, no, 100%.
Yeah, because if Mountain Dew was like paying them, it'd be like a regular Mountain Dew. Like you'd notice it, but it's like it feels natural because it's just like a flavor. That, like, I don't know.
Unlike so our branded product placement. Mountain Dew Original.
I have the Thrash Apple though. I'm not getting paid for this. Caitlin's getting paid, but not me. Somehow, I don't know how this happened.
Mountain Dew, please sponsor me and not Kayla.
Yeah, I shill the corporation enough just by drinking so much of it and everything.
Just kidding. This is a non-disclosed lime green can, and if you want me to shout you out.
Then you better.
I need that check.
Shill some dollars. Give us some Mountain Dew. We'll try it live on air. I'll rant about corporations for a little while, and then we'll be like, oh, anyway, ad break time. Drink Mountain Dew. It's good for you, right? Yes.
Mountain Dew, the first mixer for moonshine.
An OG. Goes way back, you know? We'd love to see it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just... I do find it stupid how like weirdly like obsessed. The first time I watched it, I just like kept staring at the Mountain Dew voltage because I was just like, that's so interesting. I've never, because I also don't think in any other movie I've seen a Mountain Dew voltage. Like, I feel like maybe like a Mountain Dew Code Red or something I've seen maybe in like maybe another A24 actually. I think maybe mid-90s might have had something like that. But like it's still just like a weird random Mountain Dew flavor. Just doesn't feel like you'd ever see that in a movie. And for some reason to me that just like stands out to me as just like so authentic feeling. It's such a weird specific thing, but probably because I like Mountain Dew.
I feel you. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think it has to do with the fact that you like Mountain Dew, but also, like, I feel like that's a very good point where it does make it feel more authentic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what else makes it feel more authentic?
What?
Her looking at Aiden dreamily while he's shoving gum up his nose.
That shit's too funny, honestly. They have like the music blast into it. It's just like overtaken with puberty hormones.
Right.
But it feels very, but yeah, he's just like fucking gross ass kid.
Right. Like,
it's like,
it's just
what a dream.
Kid.
Yeah, oh my God.
There was one other thing I really wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Kayla writing Kennedy a note.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The amount of times that I, in my adolescence, did not know how to express my feelings via words because I was too awkward. And so I wrote a note and hand delivered it to the person. It was so awful for me to watch because I have that experience. And more specifically, I had it with a guy that I liked back in 8th grade.
No. That hurts.
You know what he did after?
What?
That's really nice. I almost offed myself on the spot, bro. It was so bad.
Dude, I'm like secondhand cringe.
It was so... I got firsthand cringe from watching it because it just made me relive my experience.
No, there's so many fucking scenes in the movie, too, that just like hit. But I remember that scene specifically. I heard you like shuffling in your chair and like recoiling when that happened. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this connects to something from her past. I was like, you can tell. I don't know what, but something happened there.
I'll tell you the full story later. I'm not going to give any more details because I'm still embarrassed about it.
Yeah, the person's watching.
Oh, absolutely
playing.
no fucking way.
Oh, okay.
He was Mormon. He wants nothing
Where's
to
our
do with-
Mormon audience at? Oh, crickets play. Well, that explains that.
He wants
Yeah.
nothing to do with me.
That's fair.
At what point, and I make this joke a lot, but at what point, so like when I left the church,
Mhm.
I was like, well, I can't be a woman, a feminist, and a scientist, and also Mormon.
Just doesn't quite
like
line
at
up.
some point, something's gotta give.
Yeah, one of the four is going, and I don't think it's the woman part.
But if my family for some reason is watching this, first of all, I'm sorry. Second of all, you can't be disappointed in me. I love you.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty compelling logic right there, honestly.
They know.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
I mean, I live with my boyfriend, so
already
they still love me anyway.
against the doctrine right there. Sinful. How dare you?
Living in sin.
Honestly, just literally living in sin.
Literally.
The scene of the movie that really cringed me out was the Rick and Morty thing. I actually was like fucking dying inside. Like I was like, please just fucking go, skip, please, God, no.
But I thought it was kind of sweet.
I couldn't. He's, oh my God, Rick and Morty recession, and he's like trying to do a Rick and Morty impression, and I was like, ugh.
It's because that was you.
It was, bro. It was. Yeah.
Also,
I'm in
I was going to ask you, is it normal to graduate from middle school with like a cap and gown?
I wouldn't know, honestly. I actually genuinely do not know. The middle school I went to was like a dual like middle and high school, so I genuinely.
I guess mine was too.
Yeah. So I don't. I mean, I've never seen that before, but I don't know.
I went to a K through 12 for my whole life, so
yeah.
I guess.
See, I was homeschooled when I was young, and then in elementary.
Seem like a homeschool kid.
I was. Well, fuck you too. It's the fedora. That's fucking. I mean, really, realistically, though, I wasn't actually like ever fully because I was fully homeschooled when I was like in kindergarten and like preschool. But like from elementary onward, it was like I was going to school still during the week, but I also was like still slightly homeschooled. And then by middle school, the end of elementary school and middle school is when I went like pretty much full-time school from then on. So I do have like the homeschool energy, but I feel like
I was just messing with
Fuck you, Caitlin. I take this personally.
Okay.
I take this personally. I'm well adjusted. Can't you tell? I'm socialized.
Another thing that I want to mention is about Olivia's character, and how quintessential I feel like it is as especially a middle school girl to have that cooler older friend.
Yeah.
Like that is one kind of relationship that I feel like is completely non-problematic, because when you have like that older cooler friend, it's kind of like that older sister energy. It's someone who you trust and value and respect, who is telling you that you need to be kinder to yourself.
Yeah.
And I definitely had those people growing up, and I definitely try to do that to like some of my younger friends, even though I don't really have any.
Yeah.
But like having those people are so important, I feel like, especially to your own self-worth, and having someone tell you, you have to have the love for yourself, but you also need to have people around you who support you and love you and want to see you succeed.
No, 100%. I mean, honestly, it was really sweet, honestly, seeing Kayla like get that kind of friendship and camaraderie like immediately with her. I was worried because I couldn't remember from like my previous viewings. I was like, I know that it reaches that scene in the car and everything. And I was like, is it going to be like a darker thing where like Olivia ends up enabling it almost? But it really was. I mean, Olivia was actually like trying to get her home. But then finally when Kayla was like, no, I'm totally fine. You really shouldn't then she didn't. Although I will say it would have been cool if we had like kind of seen if like
they kept in touch.
Exactly. I mean, I suppose like one way or another, it doesn't fully change. Yeah, exactly. Like the entire ending is not reliant on that at all, and that's not what it's about. But
also, I feel like Kayla thinks that she was in the wrong there.
Oh no,
and so I'm sure part of it is she doesn't want she doesn't want Olivia to think she's lame.
Yeah, and that she even tells him
to not tell Olivia.
Yeah, which is
whereas if she would have told Olivia, like, Olivia would have fucking ended his life.
Oh yeah,
like,
no.
She would not have stood for that, even for a second.
And it's just, oh man. But no, I think Olivia was great. We stan, honestly.
I was really worried when she was first introduced.
Oh yeah.
It made me very nervous because I thought it was gonna start out as like very wholesome, but I didn't think like the car scene was gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like Olivia gets annoyed by Kayla and therefore crushes her soul.
Oof, that would have been bad. No, but at least Olivia was good. I mean, she's a good friend, very sweet. Honestly, would have been a good person to shadow in high school. We stan.
Yep, we stan.
Yeah, no, definitely. Is there a whole lot more we'd like to discuss before kind of moving in towards end of episode stuff?
I don't think so. I have a lot of quotes written down.
I have one thing I wanted to read off before like direct quotes. I'm trying to see if I can find it because I felt like so just through a lot of this I was like really thinking, I'm like, okay, this is written by Bo Burnham, and I was trying to like think about that. And it's interesting because there was like a few different points where I felt like I could almost notice like what I like to call I don't know, like a Burnham-ism, a Bo Burnham-ism, I don't know, where it's like things that he like phrases he very constantly uses, or like things you can see a lot. Right. I don't know. The one that like specifically stood out to me is something that Kayla is saying like in her video that she's like reading off, talking to her audience. She goes like, "And now you're probably thinking," and I think I can remember Bo Burnham using that phrase in literally like everything he's ever done. Like it's always his thing when he sets up a thing, right, or he gets serious for a second, and then he reels back like, "And now you're probably thinking, how do I go back from this?" Or "And now you're probably," I don't know. That's just like a random thing I wanted to notice because I haven't noticed that in previous viewings, and I was like, oh, that's like literally like a trademark Burnham-ism. I don't know. It's like a very...
The last thing I wanted to say before we get into quote of the movie,
yes,
was jump scare rat tail.
Honestly,
I thought it was very funny that she was doing the tambourine and it was like a weird thing. Do you know how badly I wanted to do percussion when I was in middle school? No, they made me do fucking trombone, bro.
Oof. I mean, trombone hits a little different, I think. I loved how out of tune that whole song was as well.
I said they were pretty good for a middle school band.
I mean, true. They could have been worse.
Yes.
They were definitely out of tune.
At least I could tell what song it was.
True. We'll take it,
Yes.
That's the W right there.
All right, what's your first quote?
For quote, okay. I think I'm gonna. Let's see. I want to skip the first one I have until last because I think that might end up being my actual favorite one. Okay. I like some of these also aren't going to be exact because a lot of it's including stuttering and moments. So I'm just trying to capture the moment. Right. But I loved when she's talking to Aiden and she's like, yeah, sometimes I charge it too. My phone, I charge. It's just like, I don't know. I thought that was a funny moment.
My first quote is, "People suck and evil people exist."
Yeah. I like the way she goes, "Catch ya later." Like the way that she emphasizes the lay there, the later.
My next quote is during the school violence scene where the teacher just goes, "Bang, dead. Bang, dead. Bang, dead."
Right after that, I have when he's like, "Yeah, and let's give it up to the volunteers from the drama club." And I'm like, holy shit, bro. It's fucking weird as hell.
I have Aiden saying that if there was a school shooter, he would hit them in the jaw and wouldn't be a pussy.
Yeah. That whole interaction was honestly so
awkward.
because I had already mentioned it earlier about my favorite is just them bonding over do you wish there was a real school shooter? Do you think there'll be a real school shooting? I wish. Yeah, same. I think that's a very, very interesting moment.
When she's trying to get him interested by saying that she has nudes on her phone, she says, "It's kind of embarrassing to say," and he goes, "Okay."
That was actually a pretty funny moment. Oh my god! During I think it was the high schooler scene when they're all discussing stuff. They're like, "He DM'd me a picture of my feet," and then one of them's like, "Yeah, he was trying to flirt. He was just being nice." And I'm like, "Bro, what?"
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, that was just odd.
She tells her dad, "Don't look weird and sad."
Yeah. That seems also honestly really good just throughout everything there.
But back to that same conversation, they say one of the guys says, I was just like making a fun point. Olivia says, fun point made.
Dude, no, that whole sequence, that specific conversation is just so, like, honestly one of my favorite parts of the movie. I don't really have much of it written down, but like she's like wired differently, and like the way that they're kind of discussing the generational gap there of 4 years. I don't know, like for some reason I just find that super very interesting. It's just curious.
Yes.
There's like some, I don't know, it's just an interesting little interaction. I have also multiple pages of nope, red flag, red fucking flag, no, dude, actually go fuck yourself, no, he's shot in all shadows, ew, no, yes, it is stupid, no, Jesus, no, fuck, no, this is deeply uncomfortable, no, oh, okay, actually, one line, this isn't not as a submission for quote of the movie, but just because I want to fucking, again, in that scene, this motherfucker, this like high schooler, as he's trying to sleep with her, and he's like got his shirt off, and he's trying to get her to do it, he's like, well, do you think I'm comfortable? As his shirt's off, and it's like, yes, you literally, she asked you to choose your own dare, and you, by your own free will, said, oh, should I take my shirt off? So yes, you are comfortable, you chose to do this.
Right.
Anyway.
I would like to read off my notes during that scene.
Yes.
Is he going to be creepy? Oh, he's being creepy. I hate men. No, crossed out multiple times. Truth or dare is a red flag. I want to kill myself. My fight or flight, underline. She is obviously so uncomfortable. He's in shadow because he's bad. Leave her alone. She's just a kid. Is she about to get... Yes, stop manipulating her. God, I am so mad. He's such an asshole. This was about you.
Damn. Fuck. She's fucking... Ugh. I feel it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
Followed immediately by mental breakdown.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. That's... I'm reliving it through both of our notes there. I'm just like... it just makes me so fucking,
but then she makes this video where she's talking about like how she's gonna stop making videos, and she had 2 quotes in it that I would like to read, if that's okay. Because I felt it on such a personal level even now as an adult. And the first one is, I can be doing nothing and I'm just nervous.
Yeah.
Same. And then the one that I actually like hit me deep in my soul was, I never got that feeling after you're in a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
Honestly,
I think that's very profound.
That really is, honestly.
Right?
Fuck.
For context, she's talking about how, you know, that feeling when you get into a roller coaster and you're always nervous and you're always, you know, you got those butterflies in your stomach, but as you come down from the roller coaster, you have all that adrenaline and it makes the nervousness worth it. She never gets the feeling after the roller coaster.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh my God.
That's honestly
it's
really
so good.
That is really terrific. Genuinely. That's one of my favorites for sure. Yeah, I don't... Let's see. Oh yeah, I have between her and her dad. What was in there? Nothing really, just sort of my hopes and dreams.
I have that one written down and underlined.
Yeah, that one's a fucking funny one, honestly. I don't think I have too many towards the end of the movie, so I'll go back. Do you have any other?
I have 2 for the end of the movie.
All right, here, read your 2 then.
Okay. One is, being mean isn't nice.
It's truth, and honestly.
And then the last line of the movie is, stay cool and I can't wait to be you.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So
good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love the end of the movie. It's so good. I think one of my favorite, and I this is probably one of the closest ones to my favorite of like the quotes I have, is just very earlier in the movie when she's arguing with her dad at the dinner table, and she's like, you know what would make me feel better? If you let me get on my phone. And I was like, yeah, well, it sums up a lot. But Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do the roller coaster one. Actually, I think between the two of us, I think it might actually be my favorite. Though I'm not gonna lie.
I wasn't even gonna submit that one for quote of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. That's my. Honestly, I really like that.
I really like that one too. My
Yeah.
other one that I was thinking for quote of the movie was nothing. Really, just sort of my hopes and dreams.
That one is.
That one's good. But if you're cool with the roller coaster one, honestly, I really like it.
Yeah, I feel like if we're gonna do a funny one, the hopes and dreams one is for sure. I think the best one there. But I'm like, I'm feeling like a more profound one might suit the movie more. So I think let's do the roller coaster one.
Perfect. And play now.
Boom.
I'm really like nervous all the time. Like I could be doing nothing and I'm just nervous. It's like I'm waiting in line for like a roller coaster and that stupid like butterflies in your stomach feeling you get, like I get that all the time, and then I never get the feeling of after you ride the roller coaster.
That was the line. It rolled just now. I remember you heard it and saw it, maybe if you're a visual viewer. Anyway, that segment's over. Final scores. I'm going to... Oh, me first? Okay, well, this is going to be a rare occasion, all right? I do mean rare, as in, like, this is, like, going to probably only happen, like, a very, very finite amount of times, and I didn't even think I would say this, but I'm gonna give it a full 10 out of 10. Genuinely. 10 out of 10. Oh, fuck yeah, let's go! Let's go!
I actually wrote it in my notes.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
So
we have
confirmed.
physical proof.
We have physical proof. This is my first 10 out of 10 as well, which means that this is the first and probably one of the only movies that is going to get a 10 out of 10.
That's like a very rare thing. I mean, I think we had a discussion on one of our last episodes where I was like, it's so difficult for me to give anything like a perfect 10 out of 10, but I genuinely think this movie deserves it. Like, it's phenomenal.
It's really, really fucking good.
So that means between two 10 out of 10s, I wonder what the average is going to be. Crazy. That means Cinephiles' final score is 10 out of 10. Literally not, like, it is not just our current highest, but it will always be the highest. The closest other movies can get to tie with this. This is as high as you can get. So the movie deserves it, honestly. I highly recommend giving it a watch yourselves if you haven't watched it already. Bo Burnham is just a fucking genius at his craft. Every actor in this film is terrific. Every shot direction, all the sound design, every element of this movie all comes together.
There is nothing about this movie I would change.
Agreed, honestly. It's genuinely just like perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Fucking terrific.
And I cannot believe we agree.
Yeah. We finally got a full-on agree. We'll take it. That's the move.
So, as our continuous viewers know, I had 2 picks in a row.
Yeah.
Which means that even though you picked this week, you also get next week. So, Caleb, what are we watching next week?
Well...
And I genuinely don't know. I have no inkling about what we're watching.
I had to figure this out, I think, right when we were starting to watch the movie. I had to quickly think about this and be like, okay, wait, I forgot that I had to do this. I have to think about a thing. And on the, since we agreed so heavily this week, I'm like, I may as well go for something that's probably going to be more... probably a really weird one. Okay. All right, so I'm just trying to... Okay, so we're gonna be watching anime. First off, it just walks out. You're like, we're done. This is it. The podcast is over. 10 episodes was good enough. Yeah, that's really all we need to say. But so more specifically, it's it's okay. It's an interesting one, and you've technically watched like a little bit of it before.
Are we watching the weird vampire one?
Yeah.
The weird fucking vampire.
We are. So you've seen, because technically it's split into 3 parts, like kind of 3 movies, but each movie is like an hour long. So really, it's all like one piece, like a 3-hour long like thing. So
my eye didn't just twitch. You imagine that?
It's all right, Is
it's
it
like dubbed or subbed?
It's subbed. It's probably better that way, honestly, given the content. But yeah, so you're going to be a foreign film, about 3 hours of content, It's called Kizumonogatari. I don't think I actually have said the name yet. Kizumonogatari, parts 1 through 3. It's all based on a novel, just one novel. Like, they divide it into 3 movies. There's a lot of interesting things with the backstory. Of course, the animation is really good. However, I think the interesting point of contention is sexualization in the movie, and I think the way that male and female characters are sexualized, and I think there's just interesting discussions to be had there. And I think also, you know, it's just I'm interested. I'm interested. You know, it's like there's Twilight, and then there's this. We have the two sides of the vampire spectrum, and it's interesting. And you know, why not? Also, since you had started watching it anyway, I feel like we have to come back around to finish it. It's only natural.
We're gonna have to start with the first one again.
Yeah,
because I have no idea.
No, yeah. I know we are going to. I mean, it's better anyway. I think the thing is, it's even though like that's why it's also like I feel like they're cohesive as like One Piece. Like even though they're technically divided.
One Piece.
The One Piece is real.
That is an anime. You know, okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Go on a completely different tangent.
One Piece, by the way.
But Toby's watching One Piece right now.
Yeah.
And I got home today because I left work early today. I got home. He was watching One Piece. He paused it. He's still watching it on Netflix. He was on season 13, episode 319.
Yeah. Can we get much higher? So hard. See, I read the manga for One Piece, so I couldn't be bothered to waste that much time watching it. I read it like cultured individual. And there's a lot because it's like over 1,000 episodes and there's about the same amount of chapters. And I was like, well, would I rather read 1,000 chapters or 1,000 episodes? Definitely chapters, much shorter. You know, read the original, get right to it.
Honestly,
One Piece is good.
For as much as I talk shit about anime, you people are a different breed, bro. Like,
oh yeah.
Honestly, that I could never put that much time and dedication into anything.
Oh yeah. I
So,
mean, yeah,
good
One
for
Piece
you.
is, yeah. I mean, One Piece isn't even, honestly, towards the top of, like, my favorite echelon of shows. Like, it's not at all
I know.
up there. But, I mean, but it is funny. And we're talking length. My favorite series of all time is, like, it's longer than One Piece currently. It's actually, like, a novel, not a manga. Like, it's a regular novel series, of course, turned into an anime at a certain point. The anime is not as good, but still really good. But it's like currently longer than One Piece, and it's only like halfway even done being like released. Like it's so fucking long. It's crazy.
All right, so we're watching. What are we watching?
Yeah, Kizu Monogatari, the Kizu Monogatari.
Will you please
films.
not ask me to say that next week?
Yeah, I got you.
Because it will be offensive.
Fair enough.
No,
fair
not
enough.
intentionally so. I just don't trust myself.
Fair enough. Also, I guess because we kind of sidestepped around it, I should just also say, I mean, we said it was the weird vampire thing. That's the plot, if you're wondering. If you're curious about what the movie we're going to be talking about next week is, a guy gets vampire powers, and it's basically an origin. Technically, it's like the beginning, like a prequel to the whole different series. The other series, the rest of it's irrelevant. I think it works fine on its own as well, and it's just interesting. And I think I'm gonna see actually if I can reread the novel over the next couple of days, so I have that knowledge because I've read the novel before, but I think it'd be better if I like read it again so that I can like use that as interesting info.
That works for me.
Yeah. All right. So that's gonna be our next week's episode. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. And that's the main last segment we have before doing the adieus and the goodbyes and the hasta la vistas and such. Watch my video if you can. It's on my channel, Totally Sawsome. It'll probably be in the description of the video. If it isn't out yet at the time of the release, it'll be out in the next day or so. Hopefully it's out at or around the same time as this episode. So
Also, if you're curious about what Caleb's top favorite animes are, watch my boyfriend release the anime tier list featuring Totally Sawsome.
Hey, there you go.
It should be out around the same time, if not a little bit after as well.
Yeah. It's Sir Pixelator is his
Sir
channel,
Pixelator.
right? Yeah.
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah. No, I was on his channel for a guest, and we were ranking some anime. So
Sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't my top 5 anime. I should say that.
Oh.
It was just 5 anime I like, and then the one that's like closest to my heart.
My bad.
I
My
remember
bad,
the
Chief.
format. Yeah, that is a video that is also existing. So that feel free to check that as well.
Sweet.
Anyway, all right. Well, wish you I already said that. Goodbye.
Bye.
Fuck you.